Hey guys, here's Louie with the continuation of making a Pontiac air cleaner for my 68 Firebird here. And here she is. So I just want to say that I grind down all the welds where I had to weld that. Okay, and I am going to use this self-etching primer, which I believe all you guys is simple enough just to go to Harbor Freight and pick it up. I want to use self-etching primer at the bare steel part. So anywhere with this bare metal is where I'm going to be spraying self-etching primer. And I will let this dry for like 24 hours or so. It's pretty cold out here, so it's winter time in Pennsylvania. Thank God my garage don't go below freezing because, as you guys can see, she's insulated, but it's still cold, you know. I just let this to be on the safe side, dry 24 hours, and then I'll come back, scuff it a little, and apply some filler just where I did the welding. So those are the next step on the air cleaner. All right, guys, so I apply some filler here. All right, nice little light coat, ain't too much. And also on this side, still have sanding to do here. And after I finish sanding this, I'll put another little skim coat of filler and a little bit right here where I had to cover that cutout that Buick had. Pontiac is over there now. And after this, I'll bring you guys back to see how the filler looks, and I'll start applying some primer. We're getting close for it to start looking like a Pontiac air cleaner. Guys, and I just want to say that this is the tool I used to grind down my welds. She is new. She's a new tool to my collection. I picked it up at Harbor Freight for $100. All right. And let me tell you something. If you plan to do this hobby as far as I go, welding, doing your own welding and stuff like that, you are going to be doing your own grinding, and well worth the $100. Pretty light, and she works excellent. I mean, really, really beautiful. All right. Then when I finish my welds and the grinding, with that grinder I just showed you, the belt grinder there, I use this sander here that I also picked up in Harbor Freight. Okay, this was like $20 on sale. This is $180. Sticky back sandpaper, 6 inches. All right. And here, was when where the original cutout was for the Buick Air Cleaner. All right, but this one being Pontiac, and the air filter, the other filter will have to be on this side to go on the valve cover towards the passenger side. So I had to cover this one and weld it. And once again, guys, this is very, very thin sheet metal. I believe with my gauge, I did measure it, and it was like 24, something like that, 24 gauge. Really thin sheet metal. And I'm using here Eastwood MiG 135, okay, flux core, and my flux core wire is from Yes Welder. That's the only one I like. I buy the 10-pound spool, which is a very big spool. When I'm gonna weld on the 68 Firebird convertible, I will show more of my welder. And that one is 0.30 wire. And look at how nice this looks. This was a big little square, not that big, but a square cutout, okay, that I had to cover here. I used a piece of sheet metal, and after grinding it and sanding it, I mean, you cannot even tell there's nothing there. All right, I could just use some primer and hide that. There'd be no issue. All right, so I already sprayed my self-etching primer on the bare metal spots. Gonna get the filler ready to do a little body work on those areas. And after that, I'll sand this down, sand all the rust down, wash it real good. Okay, I'm using alcohol to wash down the debris and the residue on the air cleaner. And then when the body work is done, I'll paint it on with primer, let it dry for a day, come back, just do a light sanding on it, very light. I don't know, I will use probably also 180. I mean, sorry, no, not 180. I use like maybe 220. And then I'll show you guys what black spray paint I will use on the air cleaner. I'll bring you guys back soon. And here you go. I apply some filler here where I welded, and I shut that cutout, that square cutout you see right there. It was originally here. Cover that up. I will sand this with 80 grit. After 80 grit, I probably just jump straight down to 180, which I think is more than enough. We're not doing a car over here. If I was doing body work on a car, totally different story. But then I think 180 is safe to stop and finish sanding everything down, wipe everything real good. I told you guys many times before, I like to use rubbing alcohol. I get it at the Dollar Tree and spray everything down, wipe everything down from any contaminant. And there I start spraying some primer. All right, so that's the next step. Getting this nice and sanded. Sand the whole air cleaner down. Wipe the whole air cleaner down. Let it dry. Primer. So here I have the air cleaner sprayed with some self-etching primer. She's nice and dried. I'm going to take a red Scotch-Brite and scuff it down and shoot some primer next. Alright guys, so this is what I'm using as my primer. Rust-Oleum aerosol can. Alright. And the first coat of primer, I already scuffed the whole entire air cleaner with the red Scotch-Brite. And we're just going to give it some light coats. You don't need too much. Let me finish giving it this one coat. I'll give the next coat in 30 minutes. Alright guys, so I did my final body work where I had to cut to cover. Remember that this was a Buick Air Cleaner originally, and I turned it more into looking more like a Pontiac air cleaner. Of course, it's not gonna look 100% Pontiac, but it fits the theme. Okay. Also did my final body work here. I just finished sanding the whole entire air cleaner body. I still have the lid to do, but I use 80 grit all around. All right, and then I went back and I hit it with 180, and that's as for the body filler 280. Then 180 I stopped, and I also washed it down with some rubbing alcohol. And so this takes some time, but it's a fun project. Remember, you have to cut the air cleaner to the size here of a Pontiac. So this used to be all the way up here, and I moved it to where Pontiac has it, and I just didn't move it. But this one is actually still functional. Okay, that little door there, I don't know if you guys can see that, but she's still functional. So I made it for it could still be functional, not just looking the part. Now I'm going to spray some rust converter, and after that, just on the spots that it looks rusty, after it dries, I'll put some self-etching primer, let that dry real good for at least an hour or so, and I'll scuff it with a red Scotch-Brite, and then I'll shoot primer, maybe 3 coats of primer, and then I'll use my black satin paint. All right, guys, here it is. 3 coats of satin black paint. Here's the lid. Still needs to dry. Carburetor cleaner body also needs to dry. Here is the satin paint I used from Ace Hardware Store. And also, let me see, here's that number. I like to use this paint also for the alternator bracket, the power steering bracket, my pulleys on my engine bay, all that stuff I paint with this paint. Gives it a nice satin black paint, a nice satin look to the black paint. Next time, once this dry, we'll try it on the 68 Firebird engine bay. So guys, here you have it. Turning a Buick Air Cleaner to a Pontiac, and way more affordable if it's not in your budget to buy the original air cleaner. Even the aftermarket ones that you'll find in magazines or online for Pontiac, they are just too expensive in my book right now. So at the end of the day, Louis went to the junkyard, picked this one up for $20, did some cutting, measuring with an original air cleaner that I have on my 69 Firebird, and little welding, little body work, and a little satin black paint. Bam, there you go. Now I am missing the grommet for this tube to go inside. I just had this for a demonstration. I'm missing the wing nut. I'll get that. And also for Pontiac on Firebird, on the passenger side here, there is a heat shield that goes, and also a ducting that goes right on this part right here, okay, of the air cleaner. And that ducting is a heat riser, so the heat goes up and it keeps, it will warm up your carburetor warmer, faster, I should say, for the winter time. All right, so still need a little cleaning to do here on the engine bay. I also need to paint these these alternator brackets. Also need to get those in paint, clean this up, paint my fan shroud, which is an original fan shroud on this car, and my radiator. This is also an original period correct radiator, and I also use satin black paint on the radiator. I'll just get a engine paint, which it holds up heat better, and I'll clean it real nice and paint it. I'll wait for all that maybe the springtime, not right now, and finish painting whatever bracket I still need to paint on this engine bay. But I like my engine bay to look nice and clean for when I am in a car show or anything and I pop up the hood. The engine bay, I treat it like a box of jewelry. When you go present a ring to your loved one, believe me, the box also counts to make that ring, bam, nice and shiny come out. So same thing applies to your engine bay. Guys, I hope this will help you convert a air cleaner to Pontiac if that's what you are working on a Firebird first gen. Okay, this is correct for a Pontiac 350. The 400 cars came with valve covers chrome and the lid chrome on the air cleaner. If you guys go back on some videos, I have it on my 69 Firebird, but this one being a 350 car, that's what she has. And little by little, the white egg bird here is coming back alive. I call this bird here the bird that came back from the dead. Remember, I picked this very car here, upstate New York, literally in the junkyard, no title, was going to be crushed in 2 weeks, and Louis saved it. So there you go. Take care, guys, and keep running.